About 3 or 4 months ago, when you would use AI in a title for example, a webinar like this, the attendance would be just off the charts because people were so interested. And today, attendance is far lower. And I think that's because even just anything with AI related, it doesn't get the engagement because there's AI fatigue a little bit. Right? The AI is everywhere. And it's gotten to a point where it's almost such a buzzword that I don't even usually jump to it in conversations when I'm asked for my perspective on things. I don't talk about AI as much because I feel like it's just thrown around. So I really try to do it in a meaningful way. And that's one of the goals today is that what we're going to share about AI will be meaningful for you. And that you'll see that it has real value because it is important for us to talk about because it is a permanent part of our life now. I mean, that is the reality of it. AI is affecting us in every single way. It's affecting you and me. It's affecting work, business, trends, industry. I mean, AI is propping up the stock market performance right now. You know that too. AI is driving a tremendous amount of equity performance. So it is permeating everything and it's not going anywhere. That's the reality. There's no scenario where we put our head in the sand and we say, AI is not going to affect me and we just move on because it is affecting everybody's daily lives in myriad ways. Even if you aren't intentionally interacting with it, it's likely still affecting you in some way. Or it will. It will because of the pace that it's advancing. You may or may not know this, but traditionally, computing power would double every few years. AI is doubling every 7 months in its computing power. That's just tremendous. And so when you look at the state of AI in workforce and transformation that it's creating, I mean, just a few key data points here. I mean, 79% of workers say it's already changed how they work every day. I can say that about myself. I use AI constantly in my work. Perhaps you do as well. But the vast majority of workers are. Jobs are at risk. Some people are afraid. There's that interesting transition that happens. It's when you first realize AI can do part of your job, you're like, yes, AI can do my job. And then you realize, oh, AI can do my job. And that gets a little scary. A lot of people are scary because 1 in 4 jobs globally will be heavily augmented or transformed by AI. Some jobs will be eliminated. And 63% of employees say it helps them save time in work by automating routine tasks. And that's something we all want more of. We all want more time in our day, in our work. So AI is here to stay. It is going to change things. It is going to have an impact. It's already having the impact, but that's not even the right word. It's a disruption. It is an absolute disruption to our world and the way everything is done. And that term AI in itself can be a little bit confusing when you hear it. Just, what does it mean? Because AI comes in many different forms. Maybe you have heard some of these terms or seen them thrown around, things like Copilot, ChatGPT, in-app AI, embedded AI. And then you've got all these different tools that have names, right? You've got Grok and Claude and ChatGPT, and then AI agents are out there. And so there's all this confusion around what AI is because the faces are many, that the forms that it comes in are many. So we're going to take a minute. I hope this will be helpful for some of you. For some of you, it may be basic knowledge, but we're going to talk about specific use cases for advisors. We're going to show examples. We're going to talk about compliance. I know that's important, but before we even do that, I do want to create a baseline of sorts in terms of the different types of AI and what it means when we use these expressions, almost like a little vernacular here up front so that when I say embedded AI, you know what that means. So let's just break this down briefly. The most common popular form of AI that everybody talks about that you hear about are the large language models. So these LLMs are things like OpenAI, Anthropic, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, all these different AI tools that are out there. These are large language models. These are like the foundation for much AI. They understand and generate natural language. And most people are very familiar with these. You probably are using them for research already. A lot of people are using them basically like they use search engines just to get fast answers. And these tools, in terms of maturity, they are just rapidly evolving. They are changing so quickly. And many would say they've gone mainstream, but they're just, everything is happening so fast. If you watch the announcements around computing power, changes, new additions, innovation, it is very difficult to keep up with. But these large language models can be very useful to advisors. One of the things that we did is we surveyed advisors, and as you know, we have thousands of advisor users and firms, and we also have quite a bit of reach in the industry. So we ask how are advisors using these types of tools, and some of that's going to be shared today. But with some of the common responses that we got, we'll get into specific use cases momentarily, but things like conducting market research, brainstorming content, writing content, analyzing data. All these things can be done really easy with these foundational large language models. It's very simple to just put this in and then use it. That's the most common thing. But let's go to the next level. You also have copilots. Copilots are like assistants. They can perform tasks for you. You can set up workflows. They're powered by large language models. They're supported by large language models, but they can do things in sequence. Inside of our industry, you might have heard of Holistoplans, AI tax review. Like there's a specific feature inside Holistoplan that actually helps do this using large language models. And all types of really complex outputs can be generated with these types of copilots because they're trained specifically on maybe general AI or maybe internal dedicated data sets to actually drive things like personalization and planning and hyper personalization, content suggestions. And these are growing very quickly in adoption. They are emerging fast. Companies are coming out to do these things. Whole companies are being branded new tools to perform all different types of functions. And I did see the chat come up. Somebody asked if the slides were available for download. Yes, Todd, we will send the slides to everyone who would like them. So by all means, we'll send those as a follow-up along with the recording. Now, embedded AI even takes it to another level inside of many applications you already use. Snappy Kraken has a tremendous amount of embedded AI. I'll touch on some of that today. So you'll see examples. Many of the tools in our industry have embedded AI. Even things like Gmail has embedded AI. CRMs like Wealthbox have embedded AI. And by the way, if any of our partners are here and they're like, hey, you didn't mention my embedded AI, I'm sorry about that. There's a million things we could mention. We're just giving examples. But all types of things like auto scheduling, lead scoring, automatically suggesting things to do next, dynamically grouping content and groups of people based on data. This type of embedded AI is becoming very mature. It's just everywhere. And so firms are basically taking all these different functions of AI and just putting them into their software to make their software more powerful, to make it do more things, to bring more value for you. And we're seeing that. We're doing that for you. If you're a client, you know that. Other firms are doing that for you as well. That is standard practice. That is absolutely what should be done. And so this embedded AI should be affecting almost every tool in your stack. And I will tell you, if you are not working with firms that are helping you in this way, if they're not introducing AI into the tools you already use, they're behind. You are now using technology that is falling behind. That is not going to give you a competitive edge. And it doesn't matter what tool it is. You should see them doing releases of embedded AI, and you should see that more and more over time. Next is this agentic AI, which is where you have these agents that actually can make decisions much more. They can take really highly qualitative data or third-party data and your own data and all of the other tools available inside the LLMs, all the training that's been done, and automatically, programmatically just make decisions and do things for you. And there are a lot of tools that do this as well, because things like automatically generating meeting prep and follow-up, like you shouldn't have to go say, please use AI to do this. There's some things that should just do automatically. I can tell you right now on my own team, we are looking at tools that have more of this because, for example, if I get off a meeting and then I have to go grab my notes, summarize my notes, send my follow-up email that I copied out of AI, and then go and update my CRM, all of that should happen automatically. And these are things that businesses are working on. I'm working on them in my own business, and certainly advisors are working on them as well. So all of these things have a place. All of these things are AI. If you hear people just say AI generally, it's good to ask them, what are you referring to? Because this is obviously much more clarified. So you're probably already using embedded AI. A lot of these tools are very powerful. As they show up, here's what we're encouraging. Lean in, learn to use them. It can be scary, it can be hard, but it's really safe to explore a lot of these things within the context of compliance, which we'll talk about in a moment, and learn, because this is going to help you stay relevant and stay competitive. The last part of AI, which we're not going to really go much into, but that's all the things that are still coming. because AI is very, very disruptive, as we've already established. It's going to continue to change. There's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of new things. And some of them that we are already closely monitoring and developing solutions for our clients, for you, because we built over 5,000 websites. That's a lot of advisors who are dependent upon search traffic, people to actually find them and come and engage with them, that we feel responsible for. If we're not making our advisors successful, we're not doing our job. So we have to make sure what's happening is large language models, these LLMs, the search that's being done on them is compounding. And I was going to pull up a couple slides and show you some data, but actually I was a little bit scared to do that because I couldn't validate some of it. But what we're seeing is a dramatic shift in the amount of search traffic that's coming from LLMs. It's starting to go up. People are going and doing research in these large language models on advisors. And that's why things like you'll hear about AEO or GEO, answer engine optimization. You've got these answer engines, people are typing in questions, they're getting answers, and then those answers could be opportunities for you as an advisor to provide that answer and then get business. And so you have to be thinking about, or at least monitoring, these disruptive uses of AI that are going to undermine our daily ability to do business in the way that we historically have. If you think your SEO strategy is already dialed on your website and the traffic is not going to change and you're focused everything on Google, and you're not thinking about ChatGPT and Claude and other traffic sources inside of these large language models, you're at risk. And we want to make sure our clients are not at risk. So this disruptive AI is something we monitor, and it really is something that all advisors should be thinking about, or at least have an eye on. What's coming out that could disrupt my business? What's coming out that could disrupt me as an advisor, and how do I capitalize on that? And we're going to give you some specific examples today, so bear with me. In summary, what are these different types of AI? What is the scope of their impact, right? So this little chart we have here on the left, you've got the workflow, right? How much of the workflow does it really embed itself in? And here on the bottom, you've got the scope of the impact. So just a single workflow, or is it the entire business? And so what you can see is just sort of this progression, right? You've got at the bottom, you've got this embedded AI. It fits into your regular workflows already. It's pretty basic. It just enhances what you're already doing. It helps the workflows, but it's not super disruptive. It's easy to use. It's there. Then you've got these large language models where you're going to go in, you're going to use them for research and writing and inputs, and take the outputs and leverage those. But that's something most advisors are already doing. I'll show you that data in a moment. Then you've got co-pilots, which do task guidance and decision making more proactively, full automation. And then you've got this really disruptive AI that we don't really know exactly how you're going to be found, or how you're going to be compared, or how you're going to be used, or how you're going to be replaced. Advisors are not going to get replaced, not completely, but you get the point. There's disruption too. So this is the scope of AI. And I hope that's helpful as a primer for some. We won't spend any more time on that, but it is something that we thought would lay the groundwork effectively today. By the way, I saw a couple hands go up and then go down. If you have any questions whatsoever, please put them in the Q&A, and I will do my best to answer them live for you today. But the number one question, the number one thing that advisors usually ask about when we talk about AI is compliance. And we recently did a survey. We used AI to do it, so it was really great. We sent out the survey. We let advisors talk their answers, and then AI captured those, formatted them, and put them into a format we could use to do things like develop this presentation. And the number one thing that kept coming up was compliance. One of our respondents said, anytime we're talking about AI, what's always a concern is whether compliance will or won't allow us to use it. And the more that compliance departments are open to allowing us to use AI on a daily basis, of course, the better. So this is a common thing that we're hearing from advisors. So let's just take a minute and talk about AI, okay, just for a moment, because there's this foundational level of AI that you do have to think about from compliance perspective. And we try to always be a technology partner to the firms that we work with, a true partner. We're not just hawking software, but really partnering with them to reach their goals. And if you're with a financial enterprise, you've got to help with the compliance component. So whether you're at the enterprise level or an individual advisor, you've got to know when you put client data or prospect data into a large language model, it's not secure. It's not safe. You're giving up your data. So I'm just right away, I'm just going to say, please don't do that. Be very, very careful about what data you put into AI tools unless they are secure, vetted, protecting. Your settings are configured correctly. You know that they're configured correctly, and that data is not going to get used against you in some way. Stolen. or many other things that can happen. So that's sort of the foundation. Then you've got this governance and monitoring component, which is the next layer, because you've got to use approved tools or with supervision. You've got to have audit logs, data handling policies, internal training. At Snappy Kraken, we have a company version of the AI tools we use, and we can monitor those and supervise those. That's what you need as well at a firm. Don't just let everybody take their credit card and Wild West go buy whatever AI tools they want. That is a recipe for disaster. It will catch up with you. Please don't do that. Corporate issued instances. Then in our industry, we got to think about regulators. FINRA, SEC, firm policies. All of this really matters. What is the regulatory alignment here with FINRA and SEC guidelines and other things? And then finally, I think of this acronym. I've seen it. Maybe you've seen it before. HITL, 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 human in the loop. Human in the loop. That is still what you need with AI. So as you are using it, you need to retain final decision making. You need to supervise. It is vital with your AI outputs that somebody checks them before they are used, before they are trusted or relied upon. That human component still matters. So when it comes to compliance, this is something that we are baking into our strategy throughout the company. You'll see here on the left, there's a little quote from our Chief Product Officer, Brad Delashay, my business partner, co-founder at Snappy Kraken. He said, everything we build at Snappy Kraken includes deep considerations around FINRA, SEC, TCPA, FCC, CCPA, and on. We will continue to introduce AI for our clients, but only when we can do so compliantly. This is our position. This should be your position at a firm if you're using AI. Now, along those lines, I have my first free gift for you, if you want it. If you don't want it, that's fine. We've got this really cool financial services trained AI content tool. It checks all of your content for compliance. Now, you'll be excited to know that we are working this directly into the Snappy Kraken system. So we'll automatically do this for our clients. But today we run all of our content through this. In addition to what our compliance experts do, this helps pave the way. And I'll be glad to give this to you. If you're using AI to develop your own content, you probably would benefit from having a copy of this. Would you like to see how it works? Let me just give you a quick example. So pull this up, screen share. All right, let's see. Screens, here we go. So check this out. So this is our financial services compliance marketing copy grader. It's trained on SEC compliance, FINRA compliance. So check this out. All you have to do is take anything that you've created with your own outputs, whether it's something you've written or created or something you've used AI to create, and you can basically just paste it in here. I want to show you what it does. So if I say our performance in the market is guaranteed. Ooh, I don't think anybody would say that, but let's just see what our financial services copy grader does from a compliance perspective with this. So it'll give you a nice little taste of what this does. So it tells you right away the likelihood of a violation. It's kind of nice. Extremely high risk, obviously. It tells you why. This is great education. A lot of advisors will hire like a junior marketing assistant to come in and do stuff for them, but they don't have a clue about compliance. This is the first thing I'd give them. And then it says why, gives specific recommendations, gives you an example rewrite, and then of course prompts you if you'd like additional support. So this is a really helpful tool. It's free, which is just something we're sharing. And it's also a little insight into how we think and how we train AI that we develop inside of Snappy Kraken or leverage inside of Snappy Kraken for our clients. So moving on from that, if you want that, real quick, if any of you want this compliance tool, especially if you're not a Snappy Kraken client, just go ahead in the chat, just drop in the chat and just say compliance GPT. Compliance GPT, just put it in the chat and we'll make sure that when we send a follow-up email that you get a copy and a link to the GPT here that we created for this. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is the second biggest concern advisors have. So the first one is compliance. The second most common thing is they worry, will AI replace them? Will AI replace financial advisors? Now, before I show you the data on the next slide, because at first, when you see it, it might freak you out. I don't want you to freak out. Okay, we're going to work through this. But when you see it, it could be shocking. The position I've taken from the very beginning on AI and how it will affect the industry after 20 years in this industry and working with clients and all the things that you do every single day as an advisor or an advisory firm, I firmly believe that AI will enhance advisors, not replace them. I said that on stage at our Jolt conference. In fact, I said with AI, the advisory relationship is going to become even more important. And I believe that's true because the human connection and the coaching and the accountability is going to be even more important. But I do want you to check this out. So, this is based on a recent study from Deloitte. And this is showing where individuals currently go for investment advice and where they are expected to go further out. So there's on the bottom, you've got 2023, 2024, and then you've got estimates, right, going out here into 2028. And what you can see, I just want to point out, the green line is generative AI. So the expectation is that where people turn for financial advice will go today from where, 20% or so using AI to 80%. That's massive. It's a massive dynamic shift. Next below that is friends and family, which don't you hate that? Like, well, my cousin told me I should buy this stock. You love those calls from your clients, right? My neighbor said I should buy Tesla right now. All right, so you've been getting those calls for years. Okay, so anyway, then you've got the financial advisors. Great, glad we're on there next. But what's interesting and a little bit crazy from this research is if you actually look at that, it shows financial advisory advice being flat to down, slightly down. And then you've got everything else, banks, websites, blah, blah, blah. Here's the concept I want you to anchor on. If overall AI is going to be used for financial advice more, but as an advisor, you are going to be used flat generally. There's not going to be any change generally in the industry. That's the expectation. I'm not saying it's true or false. It's just that's what the research says. What happens if you hitch your wagon to the green line? That's where it's at. If you can use AI to take all the mundane tasks away from you, and if you can use AI to improve the client experience, if you can bring AI power to your clients while you work as an advisor, give them the best. Now they've got you, the coach, the consultant, the guide, the trusted relationship, the sage advice, the lighthouse in the storm. They've got you. But they've also got the power of technology. And that is why I believe firmly it is the advisor's responsibility to use AI for themselves and to introduce it to their clients in the right way and time. And if you're using AI in your practice, I would start talking about it with your clients right away. Now, there's been some regulatory actions for firms that didn't disclose their use of AI. I'm not talking about in your investment planning and performance, although if it is a factor, you could, as long as you're disclosing it properly. But even just in your business practices, if you can show your clients how you've created efficiencies that improve their experience, if you can show your clients how the work you're doing is improving because you're using technology and you're keeping them current, they're not going to have a reason to go seek it out themselves. And that's where you want to be. The future is AI plus advisor. That's the future. And so as we talk about this, it's true, like AI will change how we work, but everything great that we do in this industry, almost all of it is still human at the core, at its very heart. And if any of you have stress about what AI might mean for our profession, I've heard people say things like, we're good for the next 5 years, but after that, I was at a summit in New York on Monday night, and that's exactly what somebody said. I'm bullish for the next 5 years. After that, who knows? But this is why I still say human first. There are things that artificial intelligence just doesn't have that you possess. And that includes things like being able to read a room, understand the psychology the person, the emotions, the feelings of the person in front of you, and respond to that in ways that AI cannot. It includes motivating and inspiring people to take the right actions. We had an employee all hands today for all of our employees. We do one every quarter. We bring everybody in. We talk about the plans for the quarter, what's going forward. You might do similar things with your employees. If I had written my script from ChatGPT and read it to my team, you think they would have been motivated? See, it's not the same. You have the ability to do things that AI cannot. And even just trust. With the proliferation of content from AI, like trust is going down in content. But personalized content, advisor-centered content, brand-centered content, trust will go up. And AI just can't do what you can do. I generated an AI video recently of myself, my avatar, and it wasn't me. Now, we'll see where that goes, where that technology goes. But the point is, AI will not replace you. But it can challenge you. It can challenge your business. It can challenge your ability to stay competitive and relevant. And I hope some of the data we shared already highlights that. So here's what I was thinking might be good from an advisor's perspective. We're all a little competitive. Advisors are kind of competitive generally, is to know, what are my peers doing? What are other advisors doing with AI? Because if I'm not doing anything and they are, and they're moving forward and moving their clients forward and I'm not, that's not going to look great on me. It's not going to let me stay competitive. So we, in this research we've done, we've got some learnings here about how advisors are using AI that we'll share with you. And as we do, we'll also share some examples of how Snappy Kraken is helping our clients leverage AI in a compliant way. Number one, the majority of advisors are using AI on some level, but primarily personally, 68%. So the majority are already using it. I bet most of you are too. But 81% of respondents said that they are optimistic about it and they intend to use it more. So that number is going to grow. 68% is good today. It's going to go to 80. It's going to go to 100. It's what's going to happen. Everybody is going to be using it. It's going to become table stakes, just like email, just like the internet, just like touchscreen phones. This is what happens with technology. What is the AI adoption cycle? What's it look like? Well, there's some who aren't using it, but that's less than 10% according to the data. 68% are using it personally. What does that mean personally? That just means personal experimentation, right? They're engaging with it in some form. They might be using tools to do search, to get answers to questions, but very basic ways. But I think this is still important. If you're not using AI daily for yourself, how are you going to build confidence in how it works, in its capabilities, and drive wider adoption? That's a call to firm leaders. Recently, because of my own use of AI, I was able to build something for my team that dramatically improved their efficiency. That's why it's important as a leader to set the stage. And then they'll follow. So personal usage matters, but we're talking about business. So what happens next? Well, respondents mentioned that they're transitioning now from personal use into introducing AI into their workflows. But typically, what they're doing is they're just introducing it for content creation tasks, very basic things, or strategic planning. This is early. This is early. You're early. That's exciting. You're not late. If anything I said made you think you're late, you're not. You're early. So this is the time that you can start to step in and use this and still stay ahead. You can still stay ahead if you are implementing it into the workplace. But most important of all, this early workforce integration of tools like ChatGPT and other things in the financial industry, as much as this is happening, this is not really where it's going. Early implementation, using tools a little bit, is not the real future for AI and financial services. This is fully integrated AI workflows, fully integrated. Right now, it's only a very, very small segment of firms that are doing that. Usually very large RIAs, a lot of the big firms that we serve are doing this successfully. They have chief technologists. They are working to integrate it everywhere. The problem with doing this now is that there's barriers with organizational policies and compliance requirements. So it's hard to do this. But if, as a small firm, you can make a commitment to this and you can work toward it, it will allow you to be more competitive even with larger firms. Let's talk about some of the barriers that you have to overcome to do this and how you can approach those. So first of all, regulatory compliance. That's number one. Second, the trust to use the tools and the transparency about how you use those tools. That needs to be disclosed. Talk to your compliance attorney. Talk to your compliance oversight. And third, how do you actually integrate them? How do you get them connected so they're working together? There's a big difference, massive, massive difference going from one AI tool to another tool that's not AI enabled to another AI tool and copy and pasting and dragging and dropping. That is not efficient. A true AI workflow will be efficient all the way through because it will be deeply integrated. And so when we talk to these respondents in this survey, that's a lot of the things they said is like, we need help with integrating, we need help with standardizing, we need help with training, we need help through partnerships. And that is really one of the keys. And I'm going to show you examples of how advisors want to use AI and how we're helping them do it. But if you can find good partners who are technology vendors that can help you do these integrations, help you get everything connected, get your CRM, your system of record connected to your marketing automation, your system of action, get those things connected, make sure they're working together, make sure that the data is passing through correctly. That will position you for innovation. And that's exactly what you want. Let's look at some specific use cases for this that might make it more clear exactly what we're talking about when we discuss these things. So first of all, little survey result on the right. Direct marketing expense decreased by 18% in the year following AI implementation. 18%. Would you like an 18% discount on your marketing expenses? That's a real motivator. At least it is for me. We've experienced this in our business as well. So using tools like ChatGPT to write prompts for campaigns, to automate social media responses, to refine messaging, to free up your marketing team to work on strategy, higher value, higher impact activities, that's where it's at. That's number one. You can use LLMs for that very powerfully. So advisors are using these tools to draft newsletters, social media posts, blog posts, articles, personal outbound messages. All of this cycle of marketing creation is dramatically shortened. And if you use our compliance copy grader that we just gave you, well, that'll tighten things up even more. One firm experienced a 9% increase in client retention over a 12-month period. Why? Because everything was more personalized for their clients. I'll show you an example of how to do that in a moment. Are these the kind of things you would like to do in your firm with AI? Well, here's another small gift for you. Here are 5 very useful AI prompts that you can use. If you're new to AI, maybe you're going to go get a free ChatGPT account and start messing around after this webinar. Well, this will be in the slides for you. Email campaign building, social media content ideation and creation, video scripts. One of the things that I do is when I go to AI tool and I want to build something like a video script, I just press the record button and I talk all my thoughts. And then I say, organize this into an outline for me to deliver in a video. People say things like, wow, that was a great video, and I think to myself, thank you very much. I couldn't have done it alone. And that's okay. Like you can, but it'll take a lot longer. So these are the benefits. Just a few examples. Hopefully these prompts will be helpful for you too. One of the things that I do want you to know, it wouldn't be a Snappy Kraken presentation if I didn't talk a little bit about Snappy Kraken at least, is that we are taking all of these functions and we're putting them right inside Snappy Kraken for you. We've already done it with a lot, and we're doing it with more and more. One of our major roadmap focuses is on AI. So today, you can go into Snappy Kraken. You can, instead of copy and pasting from ChatGPT back and forth, you can use AI already embedded. Remember we talked about embedded AI in our solution to create headlines, calls to action, landing pages, emails, social posts. You can generate images with AI, text, and it's already in the delivery system. So you just drag something over, drag a copy block over, for example, generate what you want with AI, and send it. Run it through compliance, of course, and send it. So all of this is built into Snappy Kraken already, but this is an example of how you can use AI. Actually, I'll just take a minute and just give you a quick 40-second walkthrough. You can see this is an example. Right, you go in, you drag the elements over, you prompt AI. We've actually built some sort of AI training wheels for you. It actually helps you, so you don't need design skills. Anything that has AI in it has the little stars there. and the green teal call outs. So it'll give you suggestions for headlines. And you can just build things basically inside Snappy Kraken. Smart text, you can create short text like this. Write me 100 words about X or Y or Z. Hit expand, it automatically pulls in the text. You want to create a button, you don't know what to write. Request a consultation is a little clunky. It gives you alternative calls to action. All of that is really built into the system. So this is an example of embedded AI. It's a little commercial for us too, but it's an example of embedded AI. And that's what you should see from firms that are helping you, is taking these functions and bringing them into the software. Second, firms on average achieved a 12% increase in qualified leads generated through AI-powered campaigns. A 12% increase. What does a 12% increase mean to your business? I don't know, do a little quick math. But this lead nurturing and client engagement that you can do with AI, what it does is it drives higher response rates. It drives higher engagement rates. And when you use AI to automatically segment people into different groups so they get relevant communications, then it's more personal and your performance goes up. I want to just spend a second on this. And I probably don't talk about it enough, but it's one of the biggest marketing mistakes that I see. Firms will send the same newsletter to everybody, like the exact same one. I'm like, do you really think that your 40-year-old client who still has kids living at home wants to hear about taking RMDs? Like, why do you think your retired client wants to hear about college planning when their kids are already through college and have families of their own? Like, this is what the industry has done for years. Just build this content, ship it out to everybody. But with AI, now it can look at the data on the clients and make sure they only get the content that's relevant for them. You think they're going to be more likely to open your newsletter, read your newsletter, click on your newsletter when it's all relevant for them? Of course. AI does that. So if you're still sending the same newsletter to everybody, you're already behind, you see? So then you've got people, this is anecdotal, but you get the point, like the data is not, that's quantitative. But you get people who are unsubscribing from irrelevant communications and sticking with the ones that are relevant. Let AI help you with that. Actually, here's an example. This is actually one of the most powerful workflows for marketing that we're using AI for right now. And it saves a tremendous amount of time and it drives better performance. So we are actually using AI now to essentially take in unstructured data, junk data, ugly data, data from emails, and put it into a structured system that can be used for marketing. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you have like different lead sources that you're using, you know, Dave Ramsey, leading response, smart asset, you're doing events, you got leads coming in from a website, you've got, you know, leads coming in from directly to your inbox, they're going all these places. So what we do is we actually create a inbox that will grab all that and just sort it into separate groups for you. It'll automatically sort it into relevant groups based on age, income, assets, which source it came from. And after it sorts them into relevant groups, you can kind of see that here. It's just parsing everybody out, putting them in a group. You can actually set the criteria for each group. So the AI will then look at the data and see if it matches your data request. So here in this case, we're putting like an age range in, right? Like we're going to say, this is only for people 55 and up. And then we can do something else like income or AUM or assets or home ownership or whatever. And then they're going to automatically, AI is going to look at the data from an email and say, who is this person? And then put them into the right group with tremendous accuracy. And you know what that means? No more data entry. Talked to a firm who was spending 15 hours a week on data entry. Had people like entering and everything from their seminars and entering every lead that called in. And now they spend zero. They got 15 hours a week back just because they're letting AI grab the data and put it in. So that's another example. So what are we seeing in the data? Number one, measurable gains in efficiency. Number two, higher precision that leads to better response rates and overall marketing performance. And some firms even reported that they're using AI to fine-tune their client onboarding experience, their client onboarding materials. There's really so much that it's doing for a variety of firms that we've been talking to. And along those lines, by the way, one of our attendees asked if Snappy Kraken shares their info with other advisors. The answer is no. The answer is that we do not share your data with other advisors individually. We do take global collective data on things like open rates, click rates, pages viewed, contact records, and we publish that data so firms can see. We think it's very important to see, where do you fall. If all your peers are getting 20% higher open rates than you, and their lead quality is 50% better, they're getting 50% more leads that have $1 million or more in investable assets, you should know. That's how you can make decisions on marketing. So we use the broad data to benchmark. We don't give up your individual data. You own that data. And anybody who's ever with Snappy Kraken, when you leave, we give you the option to have us delete your data as well. So your data is your data. That's very important. All right, so let's talk about future a little bit here. Everything I showed you so far is sort of like today state, but let's look forward a little bit. We asked advisors, what are things that you want AI to do more of for you? One of the things they said is that they want it to enhance their decision making. So monitoring existing activities that are happening and then recommending or triggering personalized action, personalized follow-ups. That's one of the things that they asked for. Another thing they said is they want seamless efficiency without redundancy at every intersection. Well, that's a reasonable expectation, and AI will deliver on that. They also want predictions on future growth in their business, future pipeline, expected campaign performance based on decisions, recommendations for optimal timing and messaging. Some AI should be able to do this for you behind the scenes. You shouldn't even have to see it or interact with it. And that's one of the things that our goal is at Snappy Kraken. And I'll take this, for example, this last point here, where they said providing recommendations for timing and messaging to maximize engagement. We see a future where delivery timing and the channel that it goes on is all based on the actual performance data from the individual contact record. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. This is where we're going. Email open rates are looked at every contact record, and they see what time of day, on average, these contacts are reading these emails. And now we know this contact reads their emails, most likely open rate is on Tuesday afternoons. This one's on Thursday afternoons. Why can't the email go out at different times? Better open rates overall. Here's another example. This client always responds when we send him a text, but not when we send him an email. Should we send the client more notifications by text? The system can recommend those things. And that is where Snappy Kraken is going. In fact, I'll give you a little preview here. This is a feature that we're working on right now that will be out soon. This is an example of a couple different kinds of AI that we've talked about all working together, because you've got this embedded AI in the solution. So we find the opportunities that come up, we surface them, we score them. Maybe we've captured them with AI. And then here we're using large language models, an integration with large language models, to look at the data on this person and say, they are reading this, they are doing this, they are this age, this is their engagement score. And then we're using LLMs to draft a personalized message to go to them automatically. One click, just text it to them because that's their preferred channel. So this is the future of AI. Again, what do you have to do as the advisor? Just let it run until it tells you what to do. It's time to do this. Here's a birthday message to this client. Click here to send it. Here's a suggested message for this prospect based on this. Click here to send it. Human in the loop. You're just looking at it and checking it, but it's going out. The other thing that advisors ask for here on this page, you'll notice, is forecasting performance and likelihood of conversion. I love to give little teasers of what's on our roadmap when we have these presentations. This is an example. I want you to imagine that you're generating business from all different places. By the way, this will be out by the end of this quarter. So going into October, this will be available to all of our clients. So imagine you've got all these different lead sources, and you want to know which one's performing the best. What's the best lead quality? Which one has the highest average assets? Which one is ultimately converting into clients at the highest rate? We are giving you a pipeline view that AI is going to ingest all your leads, AI is going to analyze all your leads, and AI is going to tell you which leads you should invest more in and which leads you should invest less in. And AI will do more. AI will also do this at an enterprise level. So if you're a firm that has 3 or more advisors and you want to see globally, how is it performing by advisor? Maybe you find out that one advisor is killing it with Dave Ramsey leads and another one's killing it with smart asset leads, and another one's killing it with seminars. Now you know. At least you can see what's working. AI should be doing all of this for you. Now, look, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I know we're just scratching the surface. I realize there's a lot more to learn about AI, and this is probably a primer for a lot of you, but good to know this is not the end. We have a lot more in this series. So I'm going to give you two options for how to go forward. If any of this is interesting to you, if anything has been helpful and you want to build on it, here's two choices. Number one, you can go to this link and you can get a demo. And we'll go into Snappy Kraken and my team will show you all the AI that works inside of our system, and maybe that'll be helpful for you. Or you can join us for week 3 or week 4. So here's what we're going to do. Week 3, August 20th, we're going to cover AI in the future of websites. We talked a little bit about the transition, the dynamic in search, and how large language models are taking more and more search traffic. What do you do about that? How do you make sure that your visitors to your website do not go down, but instead go up? And that your conversions into new leads on your website, instead of going down, go up? All focused on websites. How design needs to change, how SEO needs to change, and how the engagement methods through your website need to change. We're going to cover all that in a presentation on August 20th. I'm bringing my team in. It won't be me this time. It's good. I know you get tired of hearing from me. You'll hear from some of my team. Next, week 4, Tuesday, August 26th, we're going to do a panel. What's next for AI in advisor marketing? We're going to bring in our product team, our content team. We're going to show you what AI is really going to do with the future of your content and technology. So I hope you'll join us for one of these workshops or request a demo. But before you go, do me a favor. And in the chat, if you would like to receive a copy of the slides, a copy of the free compliance checker that we gave you, if you want the AI prompts that we showed, anything like that, let our team know what you'd like in the chat. If you'd like somebody to reach out to you, you can drop that in the chat as well. If you don't want to use the link, just say, hey, call me and run. That's okay too. We want to take care of you. I will conclude with this. Snappy Kraken is just a technology company. I don't claim to be the AI savior of the world by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of people who are way smarter than me with AI. But we are financial advisors. We are rooted in this industry. We've been financial advisors. We've run firms. We work with over 7,000 advisors. Our entire focus is on the advisor. But we know the importance of AI, and we are technologists. We have a large engineering team, and our goal is to help advisors be the best version of themselves they can be by using AI and stay competitive and stay ahead. And that's what we're committed to. So if you have any questions about AI whatsoever, if we can help you in any way with AI or anything else related to marketing or technology, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. We would love the opportunity to talk with you and serve you in any way that we can. So I hope you've enjoyed today. I hope you've learned something from it. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you next time.